Did you know you can sponsor your favorite podcast on the Spin Market Podcast Network? Hi, everybody. My name is Peter Stockdale, host of the Spin Market Report. In 2025, our podcast had over 26,000 streams, and our YouTube channels had over 1.4 million views. Whether you're promoting a product, service, or event, we'll help you reach the audience that matters. Get more information on how to sponsor a podcast at spinmarket.com. Spin Market, your business, your message, our platform.
It's the Spin Market Report. Here's your host, Peter Stockdale.
Oh man, we are back. It's the Spin Market Report. These episodes come out every single Monday.
Every Monday. We never miss a Monday, do we?
Actually, I don't know if we have.
I don't think so.
Nice. That's cool.
That's consistency, and that's what makes a podcast work.
Yes, you got to be consistently consistent. That's one of my favorite things I've been saying lately. We're close to episode 100 too.
I know.
And
it's a party.
Yes, and as we get close to episode 100, we're bringing in some good guests, just like always. But this week we got Nathan Ewer. Nathan, you are here from Supreme Painting. Do we do their website?
Yes, we did do their website. It's been a couple years, and we just were talking about adding some new projects, photos, and stuff on there to give it a little fresh up for spring. Get everybody ready to have you go paint.
Oh, we're ready too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the need to update a website means you've been doing work.
Yeah. I mean, it probably can get updated every couple months.
All right.
Love that.
All right, let's put them on a retainer. No, yeah. Nathan, let's start this off nice. Can you introduce yourself and just a basic outline of where you're from and stuff?
Yep, I'm Nathan Ewer. I own Supreme Painting. I'm from Gowrie, Iowa, and our shop's a little bit out of Fort Dodge, but I just tell everybody we're from Fort Dodge. Yeah. Most people don't know where Somers, Iowa is.
I do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's okay though.
Once I throw that out there, they're kind of like, I don't know what you're talking about. So it's just easier to say we're right outside of Fort Dodge.
Yeah, I mean that's generally what I tell people when they ask. I'm from Humboldt. It's like, Fort Dodge is close enough.
Yeah. Yep.
How did you get started in painting? Let me ask you that.
Oh, well, that's kind of like a long story, but I'll kind of sum it up here. I used to be in management, and years and years and years we're used to this overtime money. And so one year, the economy wasn't doing very good, and they took our overtime away, which, they said in management's not guaranteed. And I was young. I didn't believe that. I'm just spending away, And so one of the other supervisors was like, oh, I do painting on the weekends and in the mornings as we were on second shift. And I'm like, oh, is that good money? And he's like, oh, it is for me. So I was like, well, I guess I'll give it a try because I don't have any money right now. And so
necessity.
Some weekends we just, started some outside projects, and, I did it all summer long, and then our overtime came back, and I never really thought about it again. And my boss at the time was like, you should probably buy that out. And I'm like, whoa, that's crazy. I don't want to do that. So long story short, I decided I want to move back to Fort Dodge. So I come back, and I'm used to being in management. I'm kind of burnt out on it. I don't know if I want to do that anymore. I take a job at Purina on third shift. I'm just going to pay my bills. I've heard good stuff about Purina. Great. There was nothing wrong with working there, but third shift didn't work on my schedule. That's kind of where you always get placed at the time. And so I decided hey, my brother does construction. I'm just going to start painting some projects, for some extra money and some freedom. And slowly that took off, and we hit summer months. I got really busy, and I got to where I was sleeping 3 hours a day. And I'm sleeping for 3 hours, getting up and running a forklift on third shift, and bags under my eyes.
True entrepreneur.
Yeah.
That's what we want to hear.
Yeah. So I decided, I was like, well, I'm going to try this full time, and went out on a limb. I had, maybe a month and a half, maybe 2 months sold of work, and decided I was going to be rich in a year,
Yeah.
And, well, that really fooled me, but the idea sounded good at the time.
Do you think getting all those jobs, I understandably, you were I could kind of pick up something here and there, a little bit of part-time work, but when you started saying I have stuff a month scheduled out for a month, is that when you were like, oh, this could work?
Well, I was just really tired. I just wanted some sleep. I was like, I got to decide either I'm doing this or I'm going to have to just, maybe pick up a little bit, but my mentality, it wasn't going to let me back off. All right. Once I get into something, we're doing it.
Nice.
Well, there's a need for that service here.
Oh, I
in
think
our
so.
region, big time.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I was getting calls. Nobody knew who I was, and I was getting calls. And so just word of mouth kept me busy enough. But yeah, things changed definitely when I quit Purina. And then it was like, you know, I got to cover insurance and all the extra costs. But I jumped into it without really calculating any of that.
Well, as an accountant, I was shame. But it's cool because it sounds like it's all working out for you. So when you say you're painting houses, are you like painting the insides or the outsides? Or,
we do both. I mean, I think the majority of our work is commercial now. We still do like insides and outsides, both commercial, residential. You know, when we do residential, the majority is exterior repaints. Summertime, weather's good, we're just rolling. You know, and then especially in this area, like there's a need for it. Mm-hmm. You know, we've got quite a few painters in Fort Dodge, but like, you know, some of these guys don't like the 2 stories and some don't like the wood houses. And so there's a lot of opportunity. So we just repeat the process over and over again and try to cram as many as we can in while the weather's good.
I guess I didn't think about like the different things you would be painting onto, you know, whether it's like drywall versus wood versus.
Yeah, it's all different, a different technique. One of the things we've noticed lately is insurance companies are flagging houses for peeling paint. So you've got several like 2-story homes, the soffit and fascia are peeling, and they're forcing them to fix it.
Wow.
I had heard something about that where like this is technically declining the value of the house, and if you want to insure it for X amount and keep the policy.
Yeah, and honestly, et cetera. You know, like on the business side of me is like, oh, we don't want to do that because, you know, it's ladder work, it's slow, it's not really the most profitable thing, but the customer side of it, like I feel for them, like, you know, they're calling and they don't have a lot of options. So like, you know, we fit them in and, you know, everybody seems to be really happy that we can get it done because a lot of people aren't calling them back.
Well, it sounds like you found a nice niche, but it also sounds like you've got a broad niche. You're like, I do like kind of doing these things, but at the same time, I will pick up other jobs on the side.
I mean, like commercial repaints and new constructions, definitely that's what we like to do. Mm-hmm. I mean, trying to do like a new building and you got the heights issue and then you've got all the other trades. I mean, sometimes there's a lot of drama there on those jobs. And I kind of like that. I like that like factor in there you can't control.
That's awesome. I bet you just like sit back with your popcorn and watch it's always the plumbers and the electricians yelling at each other. I always think it's kind of funny.
I mean, I don't know.
Tight space, man. It's tight.
You could watch it all day and probably get a good laugh.
I wonder what they're all saying about the paint. The painters up there painting. You know, I don't know.
They're gonna listen to this and be like, "Oh, we hate the painters."
Well, what sets Supreme Painting apart from all the other painters? Is it the fact that you're willing to take some of these jobs that maybe the smaller companies or hobbyists might not be willing to take?
I think so. I mean, we try to put the customer first all the time. So, I mean, if you're in need because like your insurance is going to drop you, like I can relate to that. Like, so, I mean, we'll fit it in. But like, I think definitely like the customer satisfaction part of it, like when they call in, we're calling them back. You know, we either answer our phone or call them back fast. Mm-hmm. Then we go to the estimate. We do the things we say we're going to do. Like, you know, if we're going to start on the 15th of March, like we're going to start. But, you know, if there's weather and it rains for 2 weeks before that, you know, then we're calling them. We're not waiting for them to call us.
Oh, yeah. Makes sense.
I mean, everybody's sitting around wondering. Yep. Like, you know, my painter's going to show up and it just rained for 2 weeks. Yep. Well, we're going to reach out and let you know. Like, hey, like, you know, we got a 2-week delay. This is kind of what we're thinking if the rain clears up. But
yeah, I mean, even like just, we'll come out and check it out, but probably not. You know, like I think that's so good to have that communication, proactive communication. I do have like a question later about that, but one thing we were talking about before recording is like I feel like I can paint. You know, like it's one of those things like I feel like anybody could paint until you start painting. You're like, this is actually harder than you think.
Yeah.
So what goes into a high quality paint job? Like, what are the things that people like me are missing?
You know, honestly, a lot of it is just like you got to kind of slow down and put a drop cloth out and tape some stuff up. Like tape off your baseboards because you're going to fling paint from your walls down on your baseboards, and then you're creating more work for yourself. And then cut in your ceilings nice and like spend the time actually just like taking your time and doing it. Really, it's way more prep than just rolling walls.
That plays a big part of it. And I think that's the thing that everybody hates because they just want to get into it and want to hurry up and see that paint.
Yeah, you feel like you're not getting nothing done. Yeah. And then, you know, you got 3 hours of prep for like an hour of painting. I
mean, that sounds ludicrous. But think about all the stuff we have to do prep work-wise before, all the stuff you have to collect before you even get to building a website.
That's
There's a
right.
lot of prep work to do that. Same thing with a lot of these prep work before you do a podcast.
And then you're also at the mercy of the guy that painted it before you. So if you're doing like a residential repaint, and someone just slops some paint on the wall to hurry up and get it sold, and you buy this house and you're looking around and you're like, oh wow, now they slopped all the wall color on the ceilings. Now you're painting the ceilings too.
Yep. Nothing against anybody. We used to call it the landlord special.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure you've heard that before.
Yeah, we used to paint apartments back in the day, and I had a little way I'd charge it out, landlord special. That's what I'd call it.
I mean, they're just painting over wall plugs and everything.
Yeah.
It's just so funny. I don't know.
Hurry up and get it revamped so we can get the next tenant in.
Yep. Yeah, I did have a question here about the prep work. You said that that's actually the majority of the work.
Oh, definitely.
And I do feel like that's something that, also slowing down. That's something that you just want to get it done. Even if you're just outside painting a shed, you're just like, just come on. But then you end up with those big runs and things like that. And that's the stuff you were talking about. Who painted it before? Well, it might have been me if it doesn't look the best. So what are the most common mistakes like a homeowner would make? I feel like you had mentioned the baseboards being a thing. I would have never thought of that. But then like you said, the first place it's going to drip when it goes off the wall is right under.
It sits on top of the baseboard. They don't take their switch covers off sometimes, and then they slop it on there, or they'll slop it all over their outlets.
Ignorant question. Is it quality of paint matter?
I think so, yeah. Because your cheaper paints, they seem to be thinner, so they fling more. So if you buy, kind of the higher end stuff, it's not making as big of a mess. I mean, you still got to put a drop cloth out and tape your baseboards and stuff like that. But the higher end paint, it's more expensive for a reason.
It hangs on the brush better so that you're not seeing as many drips.
Definitely.
On there.
So how about separating? If you walked into a building, could you tell if a professional did it versus say me or whatever?
Yeah,
okay. Really?
Definitely. Yeah.
What are the big things you look for then?
You just see it the way the light comes in. You'll see lap marks in the walls, or say you'll see this a lot where they'll cut in all the corners and the ceilings and stuff, and then it dries, and then they roll the walls and it's all flashed. You see all their cut marks. It's got a different sheen to it.
Okay.
That's really common.
It's super funny because we were making these questions, and this is nothing against anybody that's painted anywhere, but I was kind of looking around at some walls, maybe here, maybe elsewhere, but it's just I guess I could see where this, having somebody professionally do this would be a different thing than. But
once you start looking at it and then you go other places, it just pops. You just see it everywhere.
Yeah, I bet, especially since you see it all the time too. The other thing was painting a shed. I remember painting sheds and stuff out on my farm and stuff. And you're this looks fine. And then a couple days go by and you're this wasn't really the best job I could have done. How about the biggest challenge running your own business? You said you didn't really measure this all out to start with.
No.
What were some of the biggest hurdles when you finally started the business?
Honestly, I learned everything the hard way.
No.
I was
but you don't forget those lessons, do you?
No. You pay to learn, and I definitely paid the price over and over again. I'm probably still paying the price on stuff. When I was at Purina was paying all my bills, and then my paint, it was just like extra money. So I'm living the good life. I mean, I might have been tired, but I felt rich in a way, So now, when I first started, I was obviously burnt out. So I'm I'm going to hire somebody. Well, you always start with friends and family, and those probably aren't the best hires. And then once you get through that, you get a helper or two, then I don't have enough leads. So then you're scrambling, how do I keep these guys busy? And now it's if you're not super busy, it's kind of money out of your pocket. Just, you're paying them because they need the money, and then you're paid last.
Yeah, I feel like that would be the toughest part of running a business is keeping everyone busy.
Yeah.
Honestly, the more and more I look into how businesses are run, or in accounting wise, you start to look at the books, because I used to do a lot of accounting, and you're this would probably, labor cost is a big cost for any company. I think it's just the hardest thing to do.
And, you take summer, there's opportunity everywhere. You're painting inside, you're painting outside, as long as it doesn't rain all summer. But really the last few years, it's been pretty dry. So it's easy. And if you're not paying attention, then winter creeps up on you, and all these guys want a full schedule, and it's oh wow, that work's not around. So if you're not planning for it, there's no work. There might be a little bit, but not enough to run guys. Another big thing is cash flows. So we started in the residential space, kind of doing some landlord stuff, and landlording wasn't super good money, but it filled our schedule, which worked out. And then I got going into commercial, and I realized that like, commercial doesn't pay for 30, 90,
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
30, 60, 90. And it's like, I wasn't ready for that. Like, how do I budget out like that much money? And then if you can produce a job, you know, in the same month, like, so you're paying everything out, there's no draws, like you got to be able to carry it. And that was a huge learning curve. Like nobody ever taught me that.
Yeah. And there's very few ways to defend against that. 'Cause sometimes that's just how businesses run. They're
It's just what it is.
Yes.
Like there's, you know, to my knowledge, there's no way of getting around it. And it's like, well, you want these jobs. This is how we're doing it. And this is how we're paying. So,
Yeah,
you know,
they
like,
don't. The option isn't on you.
No.
You're being told that this is how our accounting is. This, you know, has to be done. Certain things have to be turned in before anybody approves a check. And 90 days is not unusual.
So like for us, like we got in good with like Jensen Builders a few years ago, but I had to learn how to run my business so it works with them, if that makes sense. Like, so, you know, they're paying out 30, 60, 90, but like, you know, I'm not asking the questions up front. Like, is this an insurance job? Those pay way slower.
Oh yeah.
Well, I don't know. We're just sending guys there and I think I'm going to get a check in 30 days. And then it's like, this was an insurance job. You're not going to get it for 90 days.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of learning there for me.
Yeah. I mean, some of that stuff is like you said, third party, something like this person's got to get paid to pay this person to pay you to do the job. So it could be 30 days here, 30 here, 30 here. And that's where you end up with that 90, you know. You know, that again, there are ways to defend against it, but then again, the same thing with like invoicing. If you do like, you know, a net 10, you know, 230, 460 or something, you know, something like that, where it's like, I'm going to charge a little bit of a penalty for paying late. They might just be like, I'm not going to do your services anymore. So you end up with this weird like balance of trying to, I think that's another one of the hardest things about business is trying to figure out where the middle ground is to help everybody meet their needs, you know?
Well, in like the paint world, we use Sherwin-Williams most of the time.
Oh, cool.
But they're on a net 20.
Oh, okay.
So, you know, they're wanting their money like right away. And then it's like, well, we're not getting paid for how long? So you've got to have operating money.
Yeah.
And that was a huge hurdle for us. Like, I didn't know any different. Like, I was just like, we're just going to do these paint jobs. And this one's big and I like that. And then it's like, this one's even bigger. But then it's like, man, I can't pay my bills half the time.
Oh yeah, because I mean, you have to buy the paint ahead of time. You can't. You can't just
Yeah.
be like, wow.
We're paying for the paint. We're paying for the guys and floating it the whole time.
Wild. So let's spin this to something more positive. Like, what has been some things that have helped Supreme Painting grow? You had mentioned kind of like Jensen Builders. You kind of, you know, get in good with them.
Yeah.
Are those relationships things that have helped you grow?
Oh yeah, relationships are huge. The commercial world, it's all based on relationships. You know, because it's not their money. They don't really care like that. But you know, it's a big deal for me. Like that's how we find out about projects early in the bidding stage. You know, sometimes we'll submit bids with other companies as well. But it's usually relationships. You know, and then on the residential side, it's word of mouth. You know, that really boosted us in the beginning. Like, you know, they do a good job, but like if you're not marketing yourself for your customers, they don't know who you are.
Very much so. The other thing that you started doing was floors.
Yeah,
epoxy.
We've dabbled in some epoxy floors, and that's something that I've always liked. Like, it's so easy to take a cool video of, you know, throwing some flake out there, and everybody like responds well to that. And for me, like, you know, the last few years we've done some commercial jobs, and you know, we do like ceilings in the walls, and then these guys come in and do the floors, and we're still kind of there. But like, I'm like, I don't know why we just don't do this too. We're already here. And then,
that makes sense. I mean, seeing those opportunities sometimes.
That's you know, you got one customer, you know, if you're already in good with them, like it's a great relationship, why not just add a little bit more to it? You know, there's so much customer acquisition cost, and it chops that down a lot if you can just stay on that job longer and add more services.
Good point. So how about you had mentioned, you know, taking videos and like, let's do a video of us throwing the sprinkles into the floor and things like that. Great. That's great marketing. I know I would watch it at least for a while if I saw one of those.
Yeah, honestly, that one in particular I was surprised about because I was like, nobody's going to care about this.
They loved it.
You're just throwing some flake out there, and no, actually a lot of people loved it. It's just like, that surprised me.
Yeah, I think it's again, it's one of those things. I think it's fun because you're throwing stuff around and it's kind of random and chaotic, but it's still artistic, and you just kind of want to see what does it look like when it's all dried, you know, like those. It's just one of those curiosity type things, and I feel like that like leads us into the next question. How important has marketing been to help grow it?
It's huge. It's just huge. Like you're marketing not only your customers, but you're marketing, you know, future employees.
Exactly.
Like you got to make it look cool for them to want to work for you. They got to buy into the dream, and they gotta see what you're about. And like, you know, if you don't have a lot of employees and you don't have that reputation, like how do you reach them? They might see you on Indeed, but they don't know anything about you.
That's true.
So, like an online presence is huge. Like they just go to your Facebook and they see a couple cool reels, especially if they like get really popular, then they're like, wow, these guys are cool.
Yeah. Did you notice any bump in, like, let's say either just interest in general when you built a website or you started posting more on social media?
Yeah, I think so. Like a lot more people know who I am than I know who they are.
Ooh, cool.
And I've noticed that like, the website like definitely builds credibility.
Yes, it does.
I mean, I've just noticed that there's so many people that know me and I don't know them.
That's fun. Yeah. I feel like one of the analogies is like a digital storefront. That's like, it seems so cliche, but like you said, if they just see you on Indeed and you don't have a website, how are they going to know? And especially if you only have a Facebook, sometimes people are like, Facebook, but no website?
Yeah.
Even though, websites aren't what they used to be 20, 30 years ago, but I still feel like they're very important for verified businesses.
Yeah,
Trusting.
Yeah, it does. It builds trust. I mean, and then like you go to an estimate and they, you're making your pitch and, they've already done their homework on you. Most of them.
Oh, yes.
Yep.
Yes.
You set it up. They got a few days to kind of ask around or, see what you got for a website. But like a Facebook, a website, it just kind of builds trust and credibility all the way around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
Well, and in being in Summers, Iowa, that's not your location isn't a high traffic.
No, actually, we probably would do better like on Google if we had a Fort Dodge address.
Yes.
I mean, I definitely think that. So like maybe in the future we'll buy a new shop in town. I mean, that's the goal, but like I haven't really found anything I liked yet. But yeah, Summers is weird. Like we get a lot of calls for Calhoun County because we're in Calhoun County, and I don't think we show up as high, even though we're posting stuff routinely. I don't think we show up as high in Webster County like we should.
Well, we can help with that. A little SEO work will help you.
Definitely.
So let's talk about advice to somebody starting a trades job. Maybe not necessarily painting, but you started kind of with somebody else, next to somebody else, and then kind of got in good with another company. And then eventually you were so busy, you just couldn't keep up and you had to basically do this full time.
Yeah.
Do you feel like it would have benefited you to like go all the way back and go to school for this, or can you go to school to paint things, or
No.
what's the best avenue for somebody to take?
I mean, paint specific. I think like just start working for somebody, learning the trade. I mean, it takes a while to learn. Like we learned on the go. And we still kind of learn that way too. Like, we've only been around for like 5 or 6 years, but, we taught ourselves the hard way. I think if you were going to go into paint, you should work for someone for a while, get the feel of it, understand how the jobs are flowing. You probably won't learn like the business side of it, but, at least you understand how the jobs work. You could run jobs, maybe like, crew lead. Once you get into a position like that, you're handling the customer. You're also, maybe telling some other people what to do. But as far as like trades in general, I mean, I think the next 10 years, that's where the money's at. And, you can go to school or you can work on the jobs. I don't know, probably depends on the person. If like you do well at school, maybe that's the way to go. But if you learn with your hands, maybe you just go straight to the trade and learn that way. But it's definitely, you just got to do it. Like if you've got that burning desire inside that you want to work for yourself, like just scratch the itch and do it.
Yeah.
Like, just jump in. I mean, if you fail, you can go get a job. Everybody's hiring.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with failing. Some guys fail 3-4 times before they figure it out.
That's right.
But you don't want to be that old guy in the retirement home that's like, oh, I could have probably worked for myself and been something big. Like,
yeah.
Why would you want that regret? Just do it. Like hop in it and find out.
I was watching a video not too long ago, and it was about why there are so many entrepreneurs in America compared to so many other countries. And it's because our culture is basically built to accept failure as something that is on the way to succeeding, where other cultures, they don't really like, not this isn't all of them, but like some of them don't really look too highly at people that fail at anything. So like your whole job is basically, your whole life is to never fail at anything. So you got to be good at something and just stick with it and don't ever try to branch out. And that's what I think is kind of cool. You said that and it really kind of hit home because I watched that video a couple of days ago. So we got a couple questions here about communicating. How do you make sure the customer is satisfied, and what's the most important part about communicating with your customers and clients?
Well, kind of what we do, it all starts with the estimate. We're going to call them back or we answer our phone, one or the other. But like through the project, we have a crew lead on site. He's communicating with them all the way through. I'm checking in, I'm communicating with them, so they're getting like double communication. But then like at the end, instead of just leaving and be like, oh, we want it paid, on the residential side, we do a walk around. The crew lead or I, depending on the schedule and how things are going, we do a walk around the customer. If they see anything or we see anything, we get it all while we're there. That kind of prevents callbacks too. But, you just straight up just ask them, how was your experience? Or like, is there things that we can do better? I mean, sometimes you get jobs and you can't help it and stuff goes wrong. But that's where you shine.
It's how you handle it.
Yeah, it's how you handle it. Like, if you're going to just blow them off and be like, oh, take their money and run, like, you're not going to last forever. It's going to get out. But, like, sometimes you can't help it. Like, stuff goes wrong, and then it's just how you handle, how you fix it. And then, most people, they just want it fixed.
I think you brought up a good point. Like, ask them before you leave.
Yeah,
like,
just ask.
That's something I don't know if, like, until I made the mistake, I don't know if I would have done that, because it's just like, well, we got it done. Let's pack up everything. And, and then you put it all in the truck and you're like, what do you think? And you're walking around like, well, can we paint this a little bit? And then you're like, crap, I'm going to go get the drop cloths again.
In a callback, like that screws up your schedule. And as you're packing, I mean, like I have a bad habit of this where I just schedule tight. I'm like, oh, it's never going to rain. And, we're never going to have an extra day on this job. So like I'm scheduling too tight, and my guys probably hate that, but like it's true. So like to prevent the callback is huge on our end. But like, plus some people, they feel weird about calling you if there's a mistake. And honestly, I thank them because I want to know, can we put a different process in place? Or like, can we do something different? Is there better products? Like, it just makes us better.
Yeah. I feel that's something like people are scared to complain, but I feel like done the right way, it can be beneficial for both people.
Definitely.
And it's not, I don't know if complaining might have been the right word, but yeah, either way,
like, if they have concerns.
Yeah. It's something like you said, if you didn't know it, then how else would you know unless they said something? Yeah. Plus, it's one of those things where like, well, this happened 3 times this year. Like, this is something we're going to address now.
Exactly. If it's a repeating situation, then if it's one and done, you still learn from it, but it may not require changes within your organization.
In the early days, like we would probably repeat mistakes and we wouldn't know. We get a new person and that mistake would happen again. And it's like, well, there's a lot of opportunity there to fix that. Like just put some systems in place. It helps the training, and then, it helps when you hire, because this person's coming in knowing that there's like a training plan, and they're like not just throwing around a job and to fail. Like,
bingo. Yeah. I feel like that's such a big thing with, especially small businesses, is the
so easy to
processes, like a process and procedure for what we're going to do, like your policies that you're going to follow and things like that.
Yeah. I mean, it's so easy to throw someone on a job and be like, well, here you go.
Yep.
I mean, I figured it out. So can you. Yeah. And it's like, well, that's not really the right way of doing it.
Yeah. Just like, here's a bucket of paint and a brush, paint it brown. And like,
and then at the end, I'm wondering why they made a mess, or why something is the way it is. And it's like, oh, well, it's my fault,
Those are those learning things though. Like you had mentioned, I feel like it's so good to learn while you're doing this stuff. The people that don't learn are the people that tend to fail at a lot of things, and that's everything. That's literally everything. That's not running a business. That's, your employees same way. Our employees same everywhere. It's you think about like even just stuff you do as hobbies. It's like, if you never learn even from your own hobbies, you're like, well, I'm not good at this. It's like, why not? Because you never tried to get good at it, And it's so that feedback is so important.
Yeah, it's like a mindset change. Like when you start thinking that way, it's like addictive in a way, because you're like doing it all day in business, and then it's like, you go home with your relationship and you're like, oh, how can I be a better spouse? And then like your hobbies is the same thing. Like, oh, how can I be better at this hobby? And it just like kind of changes your whole life.
I love that. That's gold money right there. All right. I've got a few fun questions to end this on. So we'll see what we can kind of pull out of here. Craziest paint color request you've ever gotten? We talking like some weird olive color? Like, what are we talking?
Well, the one that comes to mind first, a few years ago, I got this call from this older guy in Lake City, and he wanted to paint this house, and they store like theater costumes in there. Like it's like a club, or it's like a play club. I'm not really sure what he called it. It's been a few years, but so I don't ask anything, I just go, okay, we'll meet on, Monday, 4:00. And I go there, and this house is bright pink.
Oh, cool.
Wow.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, we're painting it, so it's going to be a different color. He goes, no, I want to keep it pink. And I'm like, really? You want to keep it pink? And he's like, yeah. He's like, everybody knows it by the pink house. Is where all the theater stuff's at.
Oh, cool.
So we painted the pink house in Lake City, and I was just like, I couldn't believe it. Like, it took me forever to like get it through my head how unique that was. But yep.
That was their calling card.
Yeah. I mean, like, I thought it was cool. It was definitely something we could post on our Facebook page.
Yeah. Well, you remember the purple house in Fort Dodge.
Oh, yeah.
From across the road from Elanco that finally, I mean, everybody talked about the purple house.
Yep.
You know what's weird about this is I thought that was the only pink house I was ever going to see. And then now you drive around these small towns, there's a pink house in every town. I never noticed that till we did that one.
That's wild. That's also another important thing. It's not always about what we want. It's about what the consumer wants. You know, you can be like, I don't know if you want to paint this pink, and they're like, yeah, but everybody already knows it's pink. And it's like, okay, fair enough.
I didn't really question him too much. I mean, he was, you know, I asked why pink because I was curious, you know, because I'm like, that's so weird. But yeah, it's like, well, this is where we store all our stuff, and we tell everybody the pink house, and they know where it's at. And I'm like, well, that makes sense.
I'm literally just want to drive through just to see. I'm gonna be able to find it. It's a pink house. Like, so I kind of just want to drive through blindly and see if I can find it. So is that probably one of the more memorable jobs you've ever done, or is there other ones like I had to climb really tall, or this one had, you know?
Like we did a project 2 summers ago in Okoboji. We did these 3 condos, and they were like 3-level condos along the lake, and they were like weird colors, like a bright red, blue, and green. And we had to have a huge lift to get to the top of it. And, you know, that was just an interesting experience. Like that was the year it flooded. So they had the dock tore apart, and we had to have like a 120-foot lift just to overshoot the dock mess and to get to the sides of the building.
Wow.
And, you know, like we're all like, well, we've never ran a lift like this. I had to call and figure out how to get the outriggers to go out. And like, we had no clue at the time. And it was just interesting. Like, it was a neat experience.
Yeah. And that's something else, again, like until you have to do a job like that, you don't know what all has to go into it. Like, you know, you need a lift because we got to get up here, but then you're like, well, where do we get a lift, and how do we,
you know, and we had looked at it that fall. So the dock wasn't destroyed. There wasn't this huge mess. So we're like going into it like, oh, this is just a regular repaint. It's a big condo. And then it's like, oh no, we got to get a special lift in here that's expensive and figure out how to run it and just how the job's going to flow.
That's wild. That's something else. Like, sometimes I feel like that, again, I came into this like, yeah, whatever, you paint a house, like it's done, you know, but at the same time, you don't know how things are going to change in 6 months after you do your estimate. Like you said, flooding, it could be, you know, you show up and you're like, oh, this shouldn't be too hard. And you're like, there's trees all over here. And then we got to figure out something else, what we're going to do with this.
Or the trees grew over the winter.
Oh,
or over the summer from whenever you gave the
Yeah, there's a lot of variables here.
There definitely is.
And it's something, again, I always think it's just like, paint, but it's not just as simple as throwing some paint.
Yeah,
again, I'm not a good painter.
If you're painting bedrooms, that's not so bad. You know, there's not very many factors in there. You know, you might texture the wall a little bit, but like once you get into some of this commercial work, like it's so different. Every job is different. Like you could be using scaffolding or lifts or 3 different kinds of lifts. Like you just don't know until you get there.
I love your professional kindness. You might texture the wall a little bit. Like, that's such a nice way to say it. I'm just going to start saying that now when I paint stuff. Yeah. I had a little texture over here. So what's a color, like let's say you got a house and you got to repaint your own house. What's a color you're not going to put in your house?
Oh, definitely gray.
Really?
Not going to paint gray. Gray is like been overplayed the last how many years? Like that's out.
So, okay, this is totally off kilter, just random question. Accent wall, yes or no?
I think so, depending on the space.
Okay.
You know, like if you've got kind of a big room and all the walls are kind of the same, like definitely throw an accent wall in there. Or if it's like a master bedroom, a big living room, like accent walls aren't bad. They kind of break it up. You don't want your house the same color all the way through.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you got to break it up, whether you get like...
That's what a landlord does.
Yeah. You know, and... especially like you want it to be personal to you. So like don't pick like 100 different colors for your house because then you get to looking like a Mexican restaurant. But like, you know, get a main color and maybe like an accent wall here or there or a couple bedrooms a different color just to break it up a little bit.
You know, it's weird. I never even thought about that. See, yeah, Mexican restaurants are all different colors. Yeah. And I'm sure I saw it the first time I walked into one, but now it's just what I assume, you know, going into some of them. And it doesn't really, it does look a little weird at the first time you see it, but now it just looks normal. Definitely. So like, but it's just so wild how that works out like that. I never would have even thought about that again. So another one I had was you're going to repaint a famous building. You have the opportunity. They're just like, the government calls and they're like, we repaint whatever skyscraper or whatever it is. What's a famous thing you would want to repaint?
I don't know. Just thinking about it, like I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but like in Fort Dodge, you know, we've painted a lot of buildings in town over the last few years, but the one thing that sticks out to me every time I go to Menards is the water tower.
Oh, sure.
You know, it's tall. It's way out of what we do. And it's like, when you look at that every time, I think me and both of my guys, like we just definitely like look at that and we're like, oh, someday we're going to paint one of these.
Dude, that's so awesome. That's like one of those, like, I have a dream to do this one day. Who knows? Maybe you might end up doing it one day.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll regret saying that now. But like,
the city calls you.
It's just something so different. Like, what does it take to do that? I have no idea. But
yeah,
that would take a little research.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes me think about like all the different water towers. Like most of them are sort of like a bluish color. It seems like, right?
Yeah. But if you get to looking at other towns, like, I mean, sometimes they have a mural on there, or sometimes their town names painted on there, and it's like it's got to be pretty hard to do because I think you're hanging out in a basket. Yeah,
and it's not a flat surface.
No, and you're how high in the air.
Interesting. Wow. Yeah, I would have never. Again, that's something I would have never thought of.
Yeah, it's not really famous or a cool building, but it's something unique, I think.
Everyone understands that, though. Everyone's seen a water tower. Every town has one. We all understand. That's crazy.
And the crazy ones that have other drawings or their lettering of their town are different is they're known for that.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that makes me think the Humboldt water tower used to be like a silver and red color. I don't know if it's just the metal and then like a red on top or whatever. I don't know why. But they repainted it like, with the Humboldt logo and things like that. Not terribly long, with last 20 years or so maybe. But yeah, now that makes me think about like what a job that must have been.
Yeah, it doesn't look easy.
Okay, so how about new services or expansions? You mentioned you're doing floors a little bit, some of the epoxy floors.
I think it's epoxy floors. I mean, I think that there's a lot of opportunity for that around. It's definitely very visual, and that's what I like about it. But like the guys, like, I kind of ask them too. I go, hey, I'm thinking about like maybe doing this too, and what do you guys think? And they're all like kind of excited about it. It's kind of cool, different. There's no lifts or heights or nothing, so it's kind of nice just to be doing something on the ground once in a while.
Random question about epoxy floors. Do they how do you decide how much flake to throw on the floor? Do they decide with you, or is it random?
I mean, there's like a spec that you do, but you throw out so much and you clean a ton of it up, so you want it like covered, and you got it all.
I've only ever seen videos. I've never done it, but it looks so fun.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, or also like the specs you could throw in there. They're sometimes different colors or like, reflective. And
then you could make your own too. You could buy 2 or 3 different styles and throw them together and make a custom color for you and
nice.
have something unique.
Well, we have a client that just in their at their building, their warehouse, put in a floor, and there was a lot of things that they did it in the winter.
Oh, yeah.
And the temperature wasn't even all the way across the floor.
Oh, yeah.
So they had some problems, and that was quite, nobody thought about that.
Yeah.
Because it got super cold and the heat.
So you pay to learn there again.
Yes.
Oof,
the heat was not even through the entire building, and so there was some issues.
Wild. Yeah, that's again something I would have never thought of. But that's some of the stuff like you can't just like watch a YouTube video and figure it. Be like, we're done. We figured it out. Now I'm a pro.
Yeah, they don't show you all the weird little techniques.
That they're always hiding something. So you got to learn the hard way sometimes. This is another one that it's one of the last questions. I do have one after this, but what areas do you serve? Because I swear earlier you were talking about, did you do work like out of Missouri? Were you talking about that?
Yeah, we did for some friends of ours. We went down to Kansas City for a while and did probably the biggest house I've ever done.
Whoa.
We don't really do that very often. It's usually just, like an hour and a half around Fort Dodge.
Okay.
If it's a large like commercial job and the money's right, like, and we can stay in hotels, we'll take that. But at the same time, when we go out of town like that, it's just tough. We can't serve the people around here, and there's always stuff coming up. So if everybody's gone, I don't know. I'd rather just stay a little bit closer. That way we can serve the community a little better.
Nice. I think it's nice to know that kind of like, this is where most of my business is, and this is where I like to be. Like you said, sometimes an outside opportunity can be good to take, depending on.
Yeah, definitely after Kansas City, the guys are ready to work around Fort Dodge for a while.
But we have to tell everybody, go to your Facebook page and check out that staircase, because that was in that building.
Yeah,
that was in that house.
That was pretty nice. That was one of the hardest things we've ever done. Yes. And I was glad we did it, but definitely challenging.
Well, it's definitely a high interest one on your Facebook page.
Well, I will put a link to the Facebook page and all the other links down below. So you don't have to search around, just go down and click it and find that picture. Because I'm going to look for it right after this. That's going to be the first thing I do.
Cool.
Well, you better follow it too.
Definitely.
That's the rule. If you're going to look, you got to follow it.
Don't we hey, you're getting the marketing down.
I love it. It's so fun. Nathan, I'm getting down to the end of the questions here. Is there anything we didn't talk about that you want to talk about?
Thinking about it, this year we're going to really focus on growth. We're looking at bringing in a couple more painters. We're definitely open to taking on some subs. I like subs, but You know, we don't keep them busy all year necessarily, but definitely employees, you know, you're working all winter long, so it's steady work. But I think definitely this year we gotta hire a few more people and kind of keep up.
Cool.
All right. So if anybody's interested in painting some stuff, this might be the person to get a hold of. Again, website down below. I'm sure there's going to be a contact page down there. Just get a hold of them. Let them know this is something you like to do, and we'll see how it works out for you.
Definitely.
Yep.
All right. I ask everyone the same question at the end, and pretty open-ended. I'm just going to say it, and we'll see what you think. But has there been a time where marketing has impacted you in your life? Anywhere. Work, job, home, play. And you didn't really notice it until, let's say, afterwards.
You know, this kind of goes back to the early days. Like, I never had a Facebook page. I had a personal Facebook page, but, you know, when I was just hustling up some work, working at Purina, like, nobody knew who we were or who I was. Like, even on my personal stuff, nobody knew I was doing it. So I had to market myself before I even started a Supreme Painting Facebook page. I was putting some stuff on my Snapchat or on, you know, my Facebook, and that kind of got us some leads. But like, I didn't realize how much marketing really affected everything. And even now, I don't think we do like enough marketing.
Yeah.
You know, the bigger you get, the more marketing there is. So it really shocked me. And like I said before, like there's a lot of people that know me that I don't know them. Mm-hmm. And it's all kind of due to the marketing.
You said something in there that's like, even though now you're doing marketing, it's like we could still probably do some more.
Yeah. I think so. I mean, there's still tons of people in Fort Dodge that doesn't know who we are. Mm-hmm. When you do commercial, like you don't get like as much credit, I think.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's like we posted like, hey, we painted this, but like, you know, you're not really getting a 5-star review from a GC since they're a big company. I mean, you might be able to get it from someone on the job site, but outside of the people that were there while you were doing it, you don't really get that repeat and referral business.
Yeah, nobody's like going into a Taco Bell like, man, who painted this place? And the cashier's like, it was Supreme Painting. Yeah. You know, like that makes a lot of sense. And again, it's something else I never would have thought of. You know, nobody's going into the office just like, wow, sweet.
Yeah.
This cubicle looks amazing.
I mean, there's been times that we, you know, would do a business repaint and the people working there don't even know who we are. And we're wearing like Supreme Painting shirts and, you know, we're working those weird hours so they can stay open, but they're like, yeah, we're not really sure who painted this. You know, so there's always more marketing opportunity there.
Yeah. And I feel like that's something, because even in like, I have different hobbies and things like that. So I have Facebook pages because, you know, whatever, you're trying to do some marketing. Every time I feel like I'm being heavy handed, it usually comes back to reward me, which makes me think like I'm not actually being that heavy handed. One post a day, you feel like I am bothering people. And it's really like, you're really not. You're just staying top of mind for people.
Right.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You gotta put yourself out there and kind of be in their mind, or they're not going to think of you. You know, after we do like a paint job for a residential person, you know, they might remember a year later, but like 2-3 years down the road, or when their friends come over and they're like, oh, you know, we're thinking about getting some painting. You know, you got to be in their mind, or they're not going to call you back.
Yeah. 100%.
I mean, it's kind of funny now. Like I've been running a lot of sponsored ads just to kind of drum up some business here and get spring loaded up. And my dad's like, every time I get on Facebook, all I see is your stuff. And he's got like, you know, 60 followers probably. So that is what all he sees, but he just thinks I'm bombarding everybody.
That's hilarious. Yeah. I mean, that's another thing. This Facebook ads probably work better than a lot of people give them credit for if they're set up correctly.
I think so. I mean, it takes a little bit of work and you get like, you know, maybe 20 leads and you get 2, but like, you know, if you work those 2 leads right, those could be decent jobs.
Yeah, when the money spent versus money you're going to bring at the end of the day.
Facebook knows what they're doing.
Yeah, there's a reason for that.
Yeah.
Oh, this has actually been really good. You know, it's again, it's just something I was just like, oh, I can paint. But then when you actually look at like a professional job versus me painting a shed and the texture I've added to the shed. The texture. I'm going to take that away from here forever. That's gold. But yeah, you realize there is something to professionals doing a professional job. It's yeah, you can DIY, but it's going to look like a DIY job, unfortunately. Yep. So I'm putting all the links for Supreme Painting down below. Hit them up. Say I got a building I need you to paint. Inside, outside, upside down, whatever it is. I'm sure he can help you out with some of this.
Definitely.
This has been super good, Nathan. I want to say thanks for joining me on the podcast.
Well, thanks for having me.
So we have another thing that we do. This is Buster the Bulldog, and he's our mascot here. As you can see, he's official.
Yeah,
here. And Buster is our mascot because we are bulldogs to get your business digitally online. And we really work hard to do that. And we ask you just to you see how shiny his head's getting. Give him a little rub for good luck and Supreme Painting.
I should really just polish the heck out of that thing in between episodes. So it looks.
You can really tell the difference though between.
Actually, you kind of can.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
I mean,
working.
if you start hitting 100 episodes here, he's really going to be shiny.
That's fun. Awesome. Supreme Painting for all your painting needs. Thanks, Nathan.
Thanks,
Thank
Nathan.
you.
This podcast is produced by Spin Market and Digital. Located in Fort Dodge, Iowa, Spin Market's highly skilled team can help you increase your market by updating your website, improving SEO, designing advertisements, and producing podcasts that will grab the attention of your market. Contact Spin Market today for all your digital marketing needs at digitalagent@spinmarket.com or call us at 515-302-8026. And to learn more, visit our website at www.spinmarket.com. That's digitalagent@spinmarket.com or 515-302-8026. Or visit our website at www.spinmarket.com.